Oh, hey, Dugan. I don't know if you saw it, but I tried to mention I was a little bit busy this week.
What's that? Oh, very cool. Yeah, he's a Choate. He's a blacksmith, a weaponsmith.
I can't see anything. This is so frustrating.
So yeah, Choate helped his friends David and Andy on crafting the Sword of Heimdall from the Thor movie, the first one.
Oh, that is glorious.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You guys are crafting.
Oh,
I just helped. By the way, those guys were the crazy ones. I just helped.
It's showing on my thing. I can't hear the audio, so Lewis, I need you to do me a solid and just check and make sure it's playing sound.
Yeah, I'm not able to record the sound on my end at the moment.
No, not record sound. I just want you to go on Twitch and just check and see if it's streaming sound. Is it streaming sound?
Just checking there.
Okay. Do. Everybody just say something. Everybody say something.
Hello.
Hello.
Test for Rhavas.
Checking
Jody,
in.
checking in. We got a test for Aaron as well. Lewis, did you hear all four or all three of them? Okay, great.
Hello.
Then let's begin. I have a recording on my other computer as well. So this would be the part where I tell everybody to shut up and start, but we're already recording, so I'm not going to stop the fun, because when I did that last time, it sucked. So going straight from where we were last session, you guys were still in the city of Durans. You fought your way out in that you didn't actually have to fight, but you opted to do so anyways. You saw that Varn, the dwarf general of the armies of the city, was being taken skyward by one of the abominations, the strange constructs with brains setting inside of a cavity in the top of their heads. They dropped more of them down upon you as the fight continued, and eventually you managed to get out alive with everybody except for Varn. You didn't save him. In fact, your actions led to his death.
Don't remind me.
Fair enough. You removed his gauntlets of ogre power and took those with you out of the city to what is known as the Serpent's Trench, which is an underground waterway that connects several of the large cities. And along your way, you were stopped, kind of, by the Mardigans, who were kind of at this outpost. And they said that they're going to continue on down the waterway to escape the city. Then you decided that you were going to check out what's going on with this town. The town's name is Crosof. You heard that there are duergar, or grey dwarfs, who have been attacking and assaulting the city, which is a problem because, as you recall, there was an altercation with grey dwarfs back in the city of Drains. From what you were told by the Mardigans, they came down from a mountain called Mount Storm's Eye, which is still technically in the Stormloft Kingdom. So they must be being forced out of their homes and migratorily trying to conquer the nearest lands available to them. As you kind of wind up the stone steps to come out of the Serpent's Trench area, unlike the city of Draen's access point, this one isn't like a sewer or underground connection. It's just kind of a cave that opens out into the town proper. You look at the town, which is now currently covered in snow. A lot of the thatch roofs of these buildings have kind of fallen in. A lot of the stone walls have been kind of broken down a bit. From what you can tell, about the stonework, it looks mainly to Gimitz, it looks mainly to Gimitz that they were pushed over. You know that duergar have the ability to increase their size. And it looks like they kind of came in and just started knocking stuff over from what you can gather. You kind of see that there isn't really much in the way of life or activity. But you do see one house kind of closer to the center of town that seems to have smoke rising from its stack. And as you approach that area, the town square is littered with bodies, the majority of which are kind of shotted in black armor. And you see a half-orc, or an orc, not a half-orc, sorry. An orc standing over the body of one of the duergar, pulling his axe out of the head of the duergar, the fallen duergar, with just a grim look of duty, not really satisfaction, just that a job has been completed. And as he does pull the axe out, he looks across the town, or the square, and sees you guys kind of approaching. Because there really isn't anywhere to hide or sneak up on him, because it's kind of an open area.
Who are you? I lift my axe in a defensive manner, not threatening, but defensive.
I'd respond, you just were doing the same thing we were going to do. You just got to him first.
It's been my job. It's what I do. This is my town.
He looks like that. You can see that there's a lot of iconography on him. Looks like hides, really, that have been marked with the Atma symbol, which I don't know if you guys have encountered yet, but it's the symbol of the orc god. But around his neck, he has a necklace, and it's kind of hard to see in that one, but you can see from this distance, it's kind of got a goldish bronze gleam to it, and it has a very familiar symbol to Gimitz. It has the symbol of Angum.
You just said the orc god, isn't it the dwarf pantheon?
The orc god of the dwarf pantheon, yeah. The symbols that are basically carved out on your hide armor are that symbol.
Okay, but the one he has around his neck is the sign of Angum.
That's correct. Go ahead and Gimitz, make just an intelligence check. If you have survival, you can add it, I suppose, or nature.
Nope, I don't have anything useful like that, so it's just a straight up roll of intellect.
Intellect, yep, or intelligence, true.
Huh, that's not bad with no mods.
Not bad at all. You would know that an orc tradition, a very common orc tradition, is if they defeat someone in martial combat, they typically will take a portion of the person's hide, and upon closer inspection, you notice that the dried out, almost flesh-colored hides kind of have a greenish pallor to them, and the carvings that are in them, the markings, they appear that they were in the skin or in the flesh before whatever it was died. So the hides that he's wearing look like animal hides, and then kind of on the outskirts of it, orc hides.
Was I not supposed to see that roll on Roll20? I didn't see anything.
Oh, you didn't see anything on Roll20?
No, sir.
Did anybody else?
No.
I saw it.
Okay. Do you see it now? Did it pop?
Oh, we saw the handout. None of us saw the roll.
Oh, the handout. The
Yeah,
roll. No roll seeing.
okay, my bad.
No
Sorry,
worries.
old way of playing.
Yep. This one's more cinematic. So sometimes I'll lie for players, but that one was actually really good. So, anywho, yeah, he says in response to Kelgar's request for information, he says, "We'd be doing the same thing as you."
Any help's welcome then. I go on, start moving about the bodies, seeing if I can find anything of importance.
Okay. So the main thing that you've been kind of checking to be sure of, you know that one of the duergar that is leading, from what you've been told and also from what you've seen, is a duergar who has red spines in his white beard. And so you're kind of going to the white bearded ones and kind of messing around with their hair just to check and see if you got the leader. And so far to say, nobody in this last wave of duergar is their leader.
Looks like we haven't got them all. There's still more around the town. If you're wanting to help, help. If not, get out of my way.
I would pull both of my my pick and my war axe out at this point and say, point me in the direction.
Unlike my friend there, I don't come cheap. I want a pick of whatever I find on him.
It doesn't look like the half. From what you saw, the half-orc doesn't look like he cares about loot. So
Belorin will actually look at both Gimitz and Hadrian. I like this one.
He kills Draugr, so friend of mine.
Yeah, so the main thing for the half-elf and the dwarf, though, just to be sure, is he is a full-blood orc. So the two of you are probably having kind of conflicted feelings just on that. There's a certain hatred or distrust that's kind of inherent in most of your race, but again, that's obviously deeds, not words, or deeds, not flesh deep, but the initial response is kind of and then okay, yeah, if he's going to kill duergar, I'm in. But, yeah, he kind of...
Pretty much.
He kind of moves into the town with like a sense of purpose. Choate, go ahead and make me a survival check. Yeah. So you start tracking around, and what you've come to realize is this last wave was sent in from the outside, and it looks like they kind of have like a retreat path. So if they had other members of this wave, those members have escaped the town, and they seem to have done so outside of the northern end of the town.
After I find that out, I'm going to go back and start actually trying to help clean up the bodies to kind of clean up the area as well, so it's not just laid out.
And you've been doing this this isn't the first wave you've dealt with, so you know that you're just going to go and throw them into a charnel pit that you've kind of dug out yourself. And when you guys get to that pit and see what he's doing and help him along, you can see that there's probably somewhere around 45 to 50 duergar just lumped in there in varying states of decay.
As we're going as well, I'm just going to prestidigitation any dried blood or grimness that's on the floor.
Okay, on the ground, just kind of clean up. So the snow has covered most of that, but yeah, there's still a bit of blood in the snow, to be sure. Does anybody here have winter clothing at all, or just your cloaks?
I think we just have our cloaks.
Okay. As you're kind of like setting to work, you're going through cleaning up stuff, checking pockets of the duergar. As Belorin, you're probably kind of, even though they're foul dwarves, you're probably still trying to kind of perform some sort of rites or some kind of honorific, just in hopes that they don't come back as undead. And Gimitz, butchering them and chucking them into the pit alongside the orc.
Absolutely. I mean, no respect.
You guys aren't really acclimated to the cold temperature, and you guys do get a bit chilly. Kelgar notices, and Choate, Kelgar would notice that they every so often will stop and go, and you're not really affected because you've been doing this for a while. You've been out in the cold for a while, but they seem to be kind of from possibly a warmer place.
Weak ones, follow me. I'll get you a place to warm up.
Are there any winter gear on any of these corpses or otherwise that I could pilfer?
Duergar are typically pretty hot-blooded. You know that duergar kind of, in their more pure fashion, are closer to tieflings than what you would know as just a duergar. There's kind of an infernal lineage in their bloodline, so they're not as afflicted by cold. And you're just a mountain dwarf, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You know that the dwarfs that are high up on the summit dwarfs are typically fine with cold weather. But yeah, you're in a warmer, usually hotter portion of mountains. But yeah, the orc offers to get you a nice place to warm up.
I have a question.
Sure.
I know with prestidigitation you can use it to warm up a cubic foot of non-living matter. Would I be able to use that to warm my clothes?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can.
Warming charm, just
for a short duration, you're able to kind of do that. But you find yourself, and everyone kind of see basically where people are doing this to keep warm. You're every couple of seconds going blah, 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 spell instead.
Last up to an hour, I can keep the warmness up for.
I understand, but like you're kind of like you set it to warm, but you need it to be warmer, and so then you cast it again. And you need it to be warmer, so then you cast it again. The temperature is obviously still affecting, but like it's basically the same premise. It's not you're not doing it as often, for sure, but you're still like every few minutes or so, like, I should probably warm up my pants. I should probably warm up my cloak, et cetera, et cetera.
For lack of a better term, every half hour or so, he's using prestidigitation to freshly pull his clothes from the dryer.
Yes. Oh my god, I wish that was a real thing.
That'd be fantastic.
It'd be wonderful. The orc offers to take you to a warm place if you guys are.
That would be greatly appreciated.
I'm going to take him to the closest inn and actually buy them all.
You would know that pretty much the only inhabitants of the town at current are you, two
and
young
the priest.
and two young men, which are page boys for the priest. So the temple is where you guys typically go. That's where the smokestack that's currently billowing is.
We'll head over there, and once I get there, ask the page boys to get them something to warm up. They've helped clear out the town square, so they deserve something.
The young lads look a bit worn themselves, and their skin is ruddy from the cold. Looks like they just got back in themselves. And they say, Lord Kelgar, we've just got a fire going. They can come over and sit with us. And I think the master's about to put some tea on.
Sounds fine. Wave over in that direction to them and let them do what they wish.
You guys are entering into a chapel, kind of a small town chapel. And you can see that the pews have been kind of broken up into stacks. But it doesn't look like there's many portions of the pews remaining. Looks like they've been here for a while and have been using the pews as firewood. It would seem that the fire is a combination of pew wood and wood that they were able to salvage outside. The page boys kind of lead you over to it, and you can see that there's a couple of spots set up. One of them goes off to the side, comes back with a couple of heavy blankets, and sets them out for you. And they make sure to tend the fire as well.
I assume it is only you fellows in the city then.
Yeah, that's right. It's just us and Kelgar and the priest.
We're working to clear the town so the rest will come back, but until then it's our duty to keep it clean until it's safe.
Who is this temple to?
The temple didn't have any iconography when you, and there doesn't seem to be any kind of symbolism inside, any set symbols or anything. But if you ask that aloud, one of the pages says, "Atavius, of course."
Okay. And what do I know about Atavius?
Roll a religion check.
May I as well?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. All right. Atavius is a pretty popular god. His symbol is kind of like a Varius, except different. It's a cross, like Christian cross, but it's capped off with 2 points, so it looks like an arrow. Here, hold on.
Oh.
Like the Sagittarius symbol turned upwards?
Yeah, basically. Hold on a second. Religion. And I know I'm doing bad here, but who cares? If you are Belorin, you have all of the information that I'm about to do. If you are not Belorin, then you just have the show 2 players. Did it pop up for you guys? No? How about it?
Yeah.
No, I got it.
So that's the symbol. And then Belorin, you have the information if you scroll down. Atavius is a part of a pantheon or religious faith known as the Vitus. The Vitus is a very far offshoot of the worship of Bavaria to the Elvish tradition. But they all claim that it's not connected. It's actually the one true God. He's the god of law. And in their religion, there in the beginning was the god of law and the god of chaos, Atavius and Ashtar. And they hated each other, but they came together to create man. And when man was created, man needed a wife. They created Persalel, and he needed, things to do. So he was given the task of naming all things in creation. He then decided that he was not as powerful as the gods and was not their equal, and he felt like a novelty. So he tricked them into coming to him in his tower and they engaged each other. And in their feud, a lot of their power and energy left them, and he gathered it up and became a god himself. But when they saw what he did, they created a new law, a law from chaos, known as the law of death, and they bound him to the plane of the dead, and he became the god of sorcery, magic, because of his act was basically a use of magic, manipulating the world to do as he pleases, and death, which he is effectively the first dead person. He is also known as the dead god, and his name as a deity is Alanusero, which you would know about because your check was really good. There you go. Yeah, that one as well. Some reading material. You would know that Tavius's followers are very devout worshippers. The best real-world equivalent I can kind of give you is they're very fundamentalist.
All right.
Yeah. And as you're kind of asking that question in response to, he says, Atavius, of course, you hear rings clinging and clattering, and you see an individual coming out of like a back cloister who is wearing a black robe, much like myself, and he has a staff. The staff has the symbol of Atavius at its top, but set inside of the crossbars are a total of 7 rings, 3 on one side and 4 on the other, that jingle as he moves. And kind of jingled loudly as you kind of caught his attention. It sounded like he set the staff down. The priest isn't terribly old looking. He kind of has like a youthful face, but there's a certain age to him, and his eyes kind of have like an age to them as well. Kelgar, you would know the priest as pretty much as he's been called by the pages, the Red Priest. He's never given you his name, but he's given you shelter, and he's given you kind of a purpose in this town. So he's kind of taken care of you in that regard.
Well, Priest, we cleared the latest wave out and cleaned up the town. We're just warming up these newcomers. They were here to help. They helped clean up and needed somewhere to get warm.
Oh, no need for explanation, Kelgar. Of course, the House of the Straightest Arrow is a place where cold travelers can warm their hands and bones. He kind of gives a weird, just grin. There's kind of like a certain ominousness about him. Like he's kind of stuffy. But he kind of walks over to you guys, and his kind of primary focus seems to be Hadrian.
I'm a bit old for you.
He looks
Pretty
at you.
nice, Hadrian.
He looks at you, and he doesn't seem to get the joke, and he says, I don't have a single purpose for you. Whatever do you mean?
It's fine. Do not
He is a bit of an irreverent one, sir. Forgive him.
Oh, no bother. I assume if it was a jest, it was made lightheartedly.
Of course.
He smiles. He kind of looks you up and down really quick, and then turns and looks over at Belorin, and then over at Gimitz. But his attention immediately turns back to you again, for some reason.
Can I insight check the man?
Yeah. What are you trying to glean, though? You just want to know why he's staring at you specifically?
Why he's staring at me? And
Sure.
He has a great distrust for priests, because he doesn't believe in any god. So
No,
it's okay to figure out if there's anything
Yeah,
odd.
that's perfectly fine. So, yeah, go ahead and make your insight check. How'd you do? Let's see. Yeah, he seems to be just eccentric. You as you've stated, you've known some priests in the past, but he's a bit more eccentric than any you've seen before.
I know I'm quite handsome, but is there a reason you're staring?
No, apologies. I just, as you can see, and he kind of gestures towards Kelgar, your friends, and the pages, which as you kind of look at them, you recognize that they're not human. They look human, but they're half-elf. And he says, there aren't too many humans in these parts. The closer you get to Netton, the rarer we become.
Good to know.
Is that where you're headed? Along with the others who were in this town?
Just out of Stormloft, I believe, is the plan.
Going just anywhere besides Stormloft, you mean?
Yes.
Very good. Well, feel free to warm yourselves here. And with this weird bit of just sleight of hand, he brings forth a pot of tea and a set of 5 cups and kind of sets them on a table near the fire. I will return to my studies. Please enjoy.
I'm British. I have to drink the tea.
I knew it.
I'm a dwarf. I'm going to pull out a flask and add alcohol to the tea before drinking it.
Surprisingly a good combination. You were going to say something?
I was going to follow the priest and see what he would like to do next. If he wants to keep these guards or if he wants me to remove them.
He kind of looks to you and says, it's entirely up to you. They do not seem to be members of the duergar's liege, so I don't see why it would be a problem to let them warm themselves and leave in the morning, so long as the weather permits. But if they're heading to Netton, they must know that the Serpent's Trench has been blocked off, and they must know that the passageway is only accessible by the key.
I'll let them know and see what they want to do.
Very good. The pages are kind of, just sitting there, not really doing much during this time. Kelgar's kind of away for a little bit. Do any of you guys want to talk to the pages?
How old are the pages? How old are they like?
One of them's about 20, probably just turned 20, and the other one's about 17.
Because I was really hoping one would be young.
They're not Catholic.
I'm just going to look about for anything shiny.
Oh, okay. Make a perception check. Yeah, so remember the holy symbol that you saw? And it was made out of gold with garnet set in it. There's a cross sitting out on the altar that looks just like that. And what's great about it, too, is it's kind of set there, and it looks like there's kind of just like a robe or a tabard or something that's been kind of just thrown idly over it. So you can only just see a little bit of it.
35 is the prestidigitation to make a small trinket roughly the shape it's under the cross.
So you would know if you're wanting to use arcane ledger domain to try and move the cross to you. The cross looks like it weighs about 10 pounds. It's a pretty solid gold piece.
It's more a case of, could I prestidigitation something that I could swap under?
Oh, make like a minor object that looks like it's the same?
Just so enough, because it's under the robe, it looks like it's still under the robe.
No, but you're pretty sure that if you put a dagger in its place, like one of your daggers, it would look about the same.
I have to remember to do that before we leave.
Fair. Kelgar enters back into the room, and the pages, or unless you guys wanted to talk to the other two, wanted to talk to the pages at all.
Go ahead.
I'm related to the pages, so I'll let you continue.
You're related to the pages?
They're half elves.
No. I was saying unrelated to the pages is what I was gonna bring up something. So I was like, continue.
Okay. You have something else you want to do?
Yeah.
If Belorin, or when Belorin actually noticed that they were half elves, or like himself, taking a sip of the tea, he would have actually looked over and, so how long have you been in service of the temple then?
Well, we came with the Red Priest from Netton 3 years ago. He established himself here in Crosof sometime after the destruction of the town of Hilton. He had friends there, and he's been mourning ever since. But you joined him 20 years.
Out of character, I keep going, wait, wasn't the Red Priest somebody that we knew was important before? Like, it was brought up last session?
Oh, wait, this is the Red Priest?
Yeah.
God damn it, this is the guy that I was looking for last time because he can do resurrections, right? Because
Right.
I did my insight check on that. I need to talk to this individual.
We kind of buried Vaughn. Like, he's
Well,
upstream. He's a pain in the ass to go back for.
God damn it. I'm so frustrated. I tried so hard.
The only person that could resurrect him is the Red Priest. Well, that sounds unlikely. We've probably been running to that guy next session. And this guy's the Red Priest.
God damn it. How far upstream is he?
Try traveling on a boat up like a white river. Effectively, is the problem. It's a hell of a march.
God damn it.
If you walk alongside it. So, yeah.
Oh well, the dwarf is simmering. Just in a side note, I'd like to take Belorin aside and basically take off the gauntlets and hand them to him. Say, these would be better put to use on your hands, as mine would barely need them as much as yours would. And kind of tell him he's a man of honor, and I respect him, and I feel like these would be best put to use in your hands, and hand them over.
Thank you, Master Gimitz. Though I'm surprised that you give up something with at least some sentimental value. You seem to have respected the previous owner immensely.
Yes, but they would still be close as we continue our adventuring. So it's not like they are lost to me. They are in the hands of a friend.
And if you die, you pull them off your corpse.
Pretty much.
Basically.
Okay.
I won't hesitate to retrieve them if need be.
As you put on the gauntlets, you feel your strength change. It should be set for +4 right now.
Yeah.
For a second there, it was +10. I know, you saw it. I didn't
see that part. I saw it when it got just when it finished updating. So that's still a huge jump from where they were.
12 to 19, yeah, for sure. And I'll go ahead and augment you, Gimitz, so you don't have it anymore. But yeah,
I have one more thing. I have that helm.
okay. It's not magical.
Take a look at.
Yeah, it's not really magical. It's really finely crafted. As you kind of pull it out and start looking at it, the pages kind of look at it with kind of a idle curiosity as well. Kelgar, when you kind of step out to meet with them, since they talked amongst themselves, you see that the half-elf is now wearing a set of golden gauntlets, which you would recognize as the gauntlets of Varn Ashbraid. You fought in the service of the Parnak military, the Semirathi, and it looks like these gauntlets were his. You can tell because they are very ornate, very recognizable gauntlets. And yeah, you can take that as you will, but they probably came from that direction, from Draen's, the city that he was in last you saw him.
Where did you get those gauntlets? I know the owner.
Vaughn's body after he died.
How did he meet his demise?
Facing off against nature.
Can I say, as he said that, how did he die? Is there a table nearby?
Yes, and it has tea on it and cups. If you want to sit and tell him the tale.
No. It's a little more dramatic than that. I would like to pull out my pickaxe and slam it into the table and say the Stormlost scum were the ones that killed him, and just shatter the table in absolute, just a flash of anger.
So your hatred and your fury. Go ahead and just make a strength check for me.
As he says this,
Please be one. Please be one.
Yes.
So you hit the table really hard, and your pick slams into it and splinters the wood. but it doesn't cause the table to shatter apart as you intended. The tea jostles on the table, but your pick is buried now all the way to, like, the entire length of the pick's blade is now embedded in the table. And you say your thing, and then afterward, everyone's kind of, like, shocked. And there's this weird moment of you going, and pulling the pick out of the table.
As I sip my tea, I'm just going to say...
Wait, is he still at the table sipping his tea?
As I'm sipping my tea, I'm just going to say, technically it was your fault, though.
I give him this look.
If a pick wasn't embedded in the table, it would be embedded in a rogue.
Yes, it would. I probably about look like I'm ready to strangle him right now.
You've not got the strength to do it anymore. You gave up the gauntlet.
In case of point, Master Mercer, I'm fairly certain that the blame could be laid more firmly at Stormloft's feet, and none of us are completely blameless in the events that occurred.
Who is the gentleman's name that cut off his beard?
Oh, right. Diak.
Diak, and I would also like to say that. And Diak cut off his beard in a complete show of disrespect.
The name Diak's not really ringing any bells for you, Kelgar.
I don't know.
I just go off on a tirade.
Okay.
Hadrian just wants to make a note.
As he's kind of like talking about the events and kind of saying them, you kind of piece the story that he tells. Apparently, Stormloft soldiers of the Stormloft military attacked the city from within and basically destroyed the Semeroth forces. So the Stormloft forces are run by the king and the council. The council no longer exists. The Semeroth dwarfs are run by the dwarf and the council. The council no longer exists. And so they were peaceful because they're both from the same kingdom. But apparently in the city of Drans, not too long ago from what it sounds like, the king's armies destroyed the dwarf lord's armies.
A question that Hadrian actually wouldn't know the answer to because he doesn't pay that much attention to the world. And so he now finally asks, who is the king, by the way?
The asshole on the throne.
The scum that needs to die.
And actually, Belorin and Gimitz, both of you make a history check, and Kelgar, you can as well. Gimitz, you'll actually have advantage for this history check. Kelgar hasn't paid attention. Doesn't care. Alright, so Gimitz and Belorin both, you would know that the current king on the throne is an individual named Farker Eversole, Farker Eversole. He is the patriarch of House Eversole, which is the kingly house of the kingdom of Stormloft. He's also known as the Golden Eagle. He is also known as Farker the Unfair. The reason why he's called that is because about 10, 15 years ago, he was the one who disbanded the Council of Lords and returned the rule of Stormloft to a monarchy.
Who were on the Council of Lords?
The Council of Lords was a conglomerate of lords that were dwarvish, gnomish, and human. The human side was the king, Farker Eversole's lineage, or whoever his predecessor would have been. Then there were the three dwarf lords, the dwarfs of Seagard, the dwarfs of Stormseye, and the dwarfs of Colbeard. Then you would have the human lords beneath the king, which would have been the three dukes, and the Margrave. The Margrave is a lordly title that has no land, but he is a representative of the emperor, who is sent to each of the kingdoms and basically acts as the tax collector for the empire. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 humans, 3 dwarves, and then the gnomish prince. The house that held sway in the gnomish courts was known as the Barbagezi, or the Frostbeards.
Okay.
Because I'm just thinking those might actually be the best allies we could have.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Under the ruling that we re-institute this council.
You would know one of the 3 human dukes is currently no longer alive. Von Drayen would have been one of those dukes.
Which I currently have his helm in my hands.
Mm-hmm. With those history checks, I'll go ahead and give you the names, though, of the lords if you want to write these down real quick. So, Eversole we already have for the King Lake. Okay. Then for the human dukes, you have Adalbert, Adalbert. And Adalbert, Von Drayens, which is gone, and Kemp. Kemp.
And Kemp. Okay.
And then on...
What's their respective cities for Albert and Kemp?
Adalbert is actually back in the Stormloft. Stormloft itself is the house city for Adalbert. The duchy that it has, it's based out of the capital.
Okay.
Then Von Drayens is based in Drayens. And Kemp is on my map. It is the city of... It's not on my map. Why is it not on my map? It should be on my map. It's Sterngard. Sternngurd.
Okay, Sterngard. Okay.
And it's kind of north of where you are at. Most of the Dukely cities, not north, I'm sorry, south of where you're at. So it's kind of here-ish. And then Stormloft and its duchy to the north, and then the Drayens duchy is off to the side. So it kind of forms like a 3.
Okay.
Orc, your name's Kelgar, correct?
Yes.
How many people can the city raise? When it's not voting off duergar.
Right now, it's just us. All the rest have gone on to the next city. Right now, we're just holding it until it's safe and others can come back.
How often does the city get attacked?
Not often. They just came to find me, and now, since everyone is gone, the duergar keep coming in days, weeks, whatever. They just keep attacking. We keep killing them. They keep coming.
To find you? What have you done to piss them off?
One of the pages speaks up and goes, "Did you see the courtyard? What has he done? What do you mean, what has he done? Have you seen the courtyard?
Fine work that was.
Him and the priest have been destroying the duergar."
I'm trying to find their leader. I haven't found him yet, but I will find him.
Well, why don't we help you out on that mission there?
Have you seen any duergar with red quills in their beards? Says one of the pages, the other page.
Nope.
Not yet. But, I mean, we can just keep killing them until we find one that does.
Or we lay a trap.
From my understanding, duergar are cunning, are they not?
They are indeed. Says a voice from behind you guys, and you realize that the priest has been standing here for a while.
Yeah, don't do that.
He kind of smiles. Is it true that you wish to aid us in our endeavor in finding the duergar leader?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I have an idea for a trap.
If they're in league with Stormloft in any way or form, then they need to be put down.
I tell you they are not.
I'm skeptical from what I saw in Drayens.
I tell you I know for certain that they are not.
Then what are they doing sacking imperial cities?
This is a town on the borderlands of 2 kingdoms.
Oh, I thought this was in Stormloft proper.
It's in Stormloft Kingdom, yeah, but it's technically on the border of Netton, which is another kingdom, and Stormloft Kingdom.
How big is Kelgar to me?
Oh, he's pretty big. He's 7 foot tall.
So whilst the Sky Self would work, it would only work for a limited amount of time, really. Especially if someone was to touch me.
Honestly, he doesn't look like the guy who's into the hiding or trying to act like somebody else either.
No, because I was thinking purely of disguising myself as him.
Oh.
Walking out so where they could find me, waiting for them to come and attack me, and then having this lot ambush them.
To be fair, if a bait action is your attempt, Kelgar looks like the kind of guy who doesn't mind being bait in a trap.
Bring it.
No magic chicanery is necessary. It's basically a come get me. Oops, I have friends now. Oh shit, we're really boned.
I I was going to bring up that. Sorry, my dog apparently decided to make as much noise as possible.
That's how doggos work. That's how doggos work.
Right? But anyway, I was going to say, duergar being rather cunning and, from what we've seen, rather cruel, likely the leader will not take the field until absolutely necessary.
The priest nods his head in response to that, and he says, "This is not your lot. And honestly, there is no dog in this fight. In this fight for you. If it is your will to continue on, you can. I will have Kelgar lead you to the mountain pass, and he will open the door for you to move on to Netton.
We'll aid you in on one condition.
I don't take conditions. I will hear what you have to say, but I assure you I will decline.
Is we have a very potentially dangerous mission. As we aren't the best in the world. We are going to become it, surely, but we aren't the best, and one of us might die. You, we have heard, can resurrect people.
And who told you this?
I knew about this from a history check, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or something. What did I know that from?
Do me a favor and just actually we'll go with your last history check just so I don't have to make you roll anything. You remember that in the city or the town of Hilton, before it fell, there was a warrior named Stenin who was resurrected by the Red Priest. When he came back to life, he fought with the people of Hilton, but at the fall of Hilton, apparently he went mad and started riding a blue dragon and calling himself the Storm God and destroying everything.
Oh, well, I would just like to bring up, and I would just say one word, Hilton.
So then you know of Stenin, then?
I have heard tales, yes.
Then you understand that there are costs for my ability.
I kind of like living.
Yes.
Be nice to have a backup plan.
To be fair, Kelgar and I do not need you. We can complete our task without your assistance.
I pop up and feel cool.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he is probably one of the strappingest lads you've ever seen. Yeah, like, he looks like he could, like, wrap Diak into a pretzel. And that guy I said was a pretty big, burly dude. This is probably the surliest looking dude you've seen. And
I think these would be people that would be very good to be on their good side. So I say we volunteer to help.
You might not need our help, but surely it's not too much to agree to this small ask of mine.
I'm telling you, what you ask, you do not understand what you ask.
Master Mercer, as appealing as such things are, believe me, anything like that always has a price. It's far better to at least offer the hand of friendship to those who have given us no reason not to, than to spurn it for a potential maybe later.
If you desire payment of a kind, as he says that, you see the cross flip off the table and fly to his hand, and he walks it over to you.
Yoink. Into the pocket. That is fine.
It should sell for a fetching price in the city of Snetton. I tell you, we do not need your assistance dealing with the duergar. I will let you know that you will need Kelgar's assistance in making the mountain climb. You will also need, and he walks over to Kelgar, and he outstretches his hand, and he's holding the key.
You take the key and put it away.
Otherwise, the mountain pass will be a dead end. I'm sure you're aware that the Serpent's Trench has been blocked off further south.
Was not aware of that, but the Marticans are going to be very buggered when they learn, aren't they?
Well, you can discuss it with them in the city of Netton. I believe it's reopened in there. They have a port in that city. But between here and there, it's been broken away. My presumption, and Kelgar has made some attestation to this, but I feel that the duergar scouted on ahead in the tunnel and broke it apart so that we could not escape easily.
I do feel like we.
Go ahead.
I feel like we should try to help them deal with this duergar problem.
The duergar problem is ongoing. It will continue to plague us unless you have the intention of killing every citizen of martial prowess from the mountain of Storm's Eye.
How many would that be?
When he says that, and you think about it, and you think about a dwarven city, you know that there's hundreds of warriors just on average, thousands for a larger city, and Storm's Eye is not very small.
Yeah, it probably took him a second to realize that, and he's like,
He goes, I've already fought one losing battle this month.
yeah,
More like this week.
yeah.
Like, actually, you know what? That's my thing now. Let's do it. We're going to go fight duergars.
All of them.
What, are you a ranger now with your favoured enemy?
I almost took that because they have a new dwarf feat that's just for dwarves for favorite enemy or something like that, and you can pick one, and you get advantage on them, and da 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 da. I was thinking about it. I didn't know who I hate the most. I was like, can I just pick Stormloft?
I'd allow it. But Kelgar, you would know that the pass is treacherous. Getting to the pass is treacherous. And these guys look like, they don't look like they're weak by any stretch, but you're pretty sure that they could probably use some assistance in the climb.
It is a tough climb. I know that I myself am challenged doing it. You wouldn't help getting there. I'd be happy to get it there. Since the priest asks.
Unless you plan on staying here for a very long time and aiding us, I suggest you make a move to Netton. That or you can attempt to go back the way you came, but I do not advise it, as I believe the duergar are camped out that way in the north.
Made worse by the fact that we'd rather kick the hornet's nest further north.
Yes. Tell me more about that. I did hear some very angry ramblings about the events therein.
The King of Stormlost has destroyed the sorcerers in the Misty Valley, attacked Hadrian, beaten off that. That's the basics.
So the town of Drans has fallen?
Yes.
It was betrayed.
Did the sword of Ryan fall as well? Was it taken?
Yes. It was taken by Stormloft, by a wizard-looking man.
This is a very ill omen indeed.
I missed that bit.
What about the sword of the Acolytes? Was it taken? You said the Acolytes of the Misty Valley were destroyed.
No! I point at Mercer.
He looks at you with like a surprised look. You were
I
gifted
flip
this.
it about, and
You
then
were gifted the sword.
Yeah.
And then I pull out the axe, and then he pulls out the shield.
He walks over to you and he says, "How long have you had it?"
Time, it's loosey-goosey, about a month, maybe? Maybe.
Just so you are aware, someone of the Order had to have given this to you. There were survivors from the attack.
We saved one
Yeah,
of them.
so... He's a lovely little child.
This is good news indeed.
You kind of killed her mentor.
She looks over.
I feel kind of bad about that.
The priest kind of looks over to the dwarf and then kind of looks at Belorin, and he seems to be kind of looking at your axe, looking at your shield. Huh. Very interesting development. Yes, Netton is probably the best bet for you. Once you arrive in Netton, I highly suggest that you speak to a compatriot of mine therein. His name is Hadrian. Hadrian Toranor.
Hadrian Toranor.
You should be able to find him in the halls of the sun. It is a temple of many gods, but primarily of Atavius.
Okay.
That said, if you are true to that weapon and you mean to follow its path and its destiny, and I were to find you dead and had it in my power to bring you back, I would.
Thank you. I'm not sure if I believe in this whole destiny business, but sure.
Well, it does not require your belief to continue to persist. The arrow continues on its course, despite those who watch it.
May I ask, what is the significance of the sword in, was it Draenor?
The sword of Ryan, the sword of the Duke von Drayens.
Yes.
Do you know if any other swords of the lords have been taken?
We do not.
No doubt the sword that was in the city was taken.
There are a number of swords that were gifted to the lords in older times. They are powerful weapons indeed. The only three that I know of is the Sword of the King, the Sword of von Drayens, the Sword of Ryan, R-I-A-N, and the Sword of Bray, which was held by an individual named Cyrus Bray.
My knowledge, he still lives and still has it. That knowledge is slightly outdated, but...
Didn't the Knight Highwind who started us on all this have some sort of fancy-looking blade too?
He had a +1 greatsword. His sword was just regular.
That was a statement in character going, wait a minute, did we just really screw up?
No.
I think we screwed up that badly.
I hope not.
Actually, all three of you kind of just make a intelligence check. See if you caught on.
I'm not very good at these.
Yeah, Belorin, when you were in the town for a while doing some kind of discussion, you remember having been told a tale that the Golden Wings were being sent to lordships to recover items in an almost pirate-like fashion. And you remember the exchange between the priestess and Seth in regards to banditry. Yeah, she was very pointed towards him. So if that lord has that sword, Golden Wings might have been sent to him pre-Seth, or they might have been sent to him afterwards. It might be related, but it definitely sounds like Seth was culpable in theft from lords.
Seth is causing a lot of problems. And I don't think he's dead, so I'm going to enjoy stabbing him.
I'm inclined to recall the statement of many thieves that I have met wear plate armor, not leather.
Right.
Oh.
They're not actual thieves, okay?
What was that?
They're not actual thieves, okay? They're just bloody knockoffs.
They're thieves. You're a master treasure hunter. Get it right. That's actually in character too.
He says, I trust that you will make your way quickly to the city. Kelgar, please make sure that they are safe along their passage. And good luck to you. But I don't think you will need it.
I nod and tell them that we'll leave first thing in the morning if you're ready.
Yes, I'm fine with that. I don't show about my companions. But I do have one more question for you, priest.
Sure.
This statue it's caused me a lot of problems.
I'll take it off your hands.
Not so much that it comes from my hand, or
He reaches into his robe and he pulls out a diamond that you know is probably worth about 10,000 pieces. Fair trade.
Tell me what the statue is first.
It's Ori Halcom.
I went.
It's obviously
I know
important to priests of Bicavaria. And I presume that, based on what it's made out of, it's probably a container of something that you shouldn't have. Take the diamond.
Oh, but now I don't want to take the diamond. You've gotten quite cagey, my friend.
Well, I would
What do you
lower
think's
myself.
inside?
I would lower myself to your kind of larceny if I were to just beat you up and take it from you. He kind of looks over to Kelgar, and then he looks back to you.
Can I use stern command to say you should give him?
You kind of get this vibe that like they're kind of burly. They're a kind of burly lot, and you might have just played your hand a little awkwardly. And he says to you, "I will be fair this time, but I tell you this: do not open it. Do not attempt to open it."
10,000 gold pieces, yes?
This diamond.
It's a lot of gold. Dwarf is staring at the diamond.
Make an insight check.
Who, me?
Mm-hmm.
Does the diamond look like it's worth 10,000 gold?
The diamond does look like it's worth 10,000 gold easily. It's a very nicely cut diamond, and it's of a decent size. It's almost the size of like a golf ball.
That's a big diamond.
It's pretty big.
What do you think then?
I have a good idea. I know what's in it.
I'd quite like to know, seeing as it costs me a friend.
I also know exactly how to open it. Unfortunately, I will not be able to do so if you give it to me. I tell you, don't open it.
Wait, did he?
If I give it to you, will you open it?
I cannot.
Well, I think he said he can't open it if he has it. But that means he can open it if he doesn't have it?
It doesn't sound like he's intent on opening it at all. He's saying that he can't open it, and he's telling you, you don't open it.
The key to opening it would be the sword, wouldn't it?
I'm going to look at the priest. I'm just going to look at the priest in the eyes and say, I'm only going to put emphasis on one word because I can only do that, I think. I don't know the spell off the top of my head. I would like to essentially cast Charm Person to try and convince him to tell me.
You're casting Charm Person on the Red Priest?
That's a terrible idea.
It really is.
Not that we make bad decisions, but that is the start
I
to
have
a very
low
bad
wisdom.
decision.
And he's intrigued.
What is your DC?
$13?
Okay, so he clears it with flying. Had a spell cast upon him, and he kind of like slams his staff down as he repels your spell from his mind, and the rings go ching 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 ching. Make a wisdom saving throw.
Not a bad idea.
You feel compelled to tell him everything he wants to know, as per the spell Zone of Truth. How did you come upon this item?
Me and my friend stole it, okay?
Who's your friend?
Eric.
Where is your friend?
Aaron wants
From
lunch.
North Dungeons.
Aaron wants lunch.
I want lunch too, man.
Yeah.
Same.
My DM says he wants lunch also.
I have lunch.
Actually, it's dinner for you, man. It's like 7. Priest says, "What? Who? What is your affiliation with the Fellhoods?"
They're my enemies and I want to destroy them all. That will work
Will you
for another
promise?
part of...
Will you promise me with your true heart that you will not open the statue until you know to do so?
Sure.
Swear upon the cross that I've given you.
Okay. I swear it. behind my back.
You have to tell the truth. Do you intend to forego that promise and not keep the promise?
If I find some mean to open it beforehand, more than likely.
I will tell you how to open it, but only if you promise not to until you know you have to.
Deal.
The sword can cut through orichalcum.
Yay!
Belorin, listen, I said that not 5 minutes ago.
No, I know, I heard you. He didn't.
I didn't hear shit.
Well, what's in it? The dwarf says that out loud. I mean, obviously, here for this conversation. Well, what's in the damn thing?
He looks to you.
2 steps backwards as well.
Are you trying to get out of my zone? Are you trying to get out of my zone?
Yeah,
He reaches over, grabs you, and pulls you back into the zone. He's like, no. Or he has Kelgar stand behind you, just like, you wanna stand there? Because
I'm just
it?
making sure the other 2 don't get any ideas of asking me any questions.
the priest looks over to the dwarf when he asks what's in it, and he says, ancient magic, very old magic.
Question: as a smithing background, does orichalcum have any anti-magic properties or anything of that sort?
Yes, in fact, whatever's inside of it probably couldn't be scryed upon or detected because of the nature of orichalcum.
Got you. So it's magic inside, not like an item. It's just magic.
Correct.
Gotcha.
There's something inside of the statue that might be potent or something else, but the orichalcum is shielding the world and any eyes that are trying to look into it from what it is.
Or someone in the statue?
Perhaps a soul or something to that effect. Yeah.
I'm going to take out the dagger, I'm going to take out the statue. And I'm just going to keep cutting it.
As you start to move to do that, make a Constitution saving throw.
God, this is going to end so bad.
Forward kill.
Can I try to stop him from doing this? Interpose myself?
Pretty good. Stop Hadrian.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's moving to like try to take it out and kind of. Yeah, the dwarf is going to interpose himself and be like.
What you see happen, and hold on a second. Take 13 points of damage, Hadrian. That's half. That's half. You succeeded, but he slams his staff down on the ground, and a pulse bursts out. I hand talked my bottle right off my table, but a pulse bursts out from the staff's point and slams against you like a wave of thunder, and you kind of feel like you don't drop anything or fly back because save, but yeah, it does. He just thunder waved you, and he looks at you and he says, "You promised."
I did promise.
Are you going to keep it? He says. He points the staff at you.
Yeah, I'll keep it until I think it is.
You will know when it's ready to be opened.
Question.
Ow.
Master.
I don't. He kind of looks at you at this point. So he says, "I don't know. I just know that you will. You got to trust me."
Is the statue worth the hassle I've had from it?
If you don't feel like it is, you can always take any points to the diamond he's holding. The money.
I'll give you the statue. If you give me the diamond, and you and Kelgar help me free my friend.
We're not going to Stormloft.
Those are my conditions to giving you the statue.
Then you'll have to hold on to it. You've already sworn in a house of the God of Law that you will not open it. If you break that,
I'm saying that out of character. Just
you will know when it is ready to be opened. If you break that promise, I assure you, I will not need to reprimand you.
Question: Can I roll a persuasion attempt to try to convince him to give me the diamond to aid us on our journey?
No.
Please.
Can I have the diamond?
it would help us so much, and it would aid into the safekeeping of him not dying and the statue not getting opened prematurely.
Hey, can I borrow the sword, the standard, and the ward, or the shield? Can I borrow those? Can I have those?
So
I need them to defend the town. Is what I need them for.
No, okay,
really
okay.
help
It was
out.
worth a shot.
What places with me? If you zone of truth, and I was to ask you some questions.
Oh, I have no answers for you. He starts to walk away. Have a good sleep and a good
Would
travel in
you
the morning.
open the statue if I gave it to you?
I cannot open the statue.
Because you have the
tell
sword.
you cannot open the statue if you want to make sure that what's in it stays where it is. If you open it, when it is not ready to be opened, I assure you, I will not need to reprimand you. Do you understand?
And the sword is the only way to open it.
If you have another means of opening up a Orichalcum statue, I can think of no other thing that can cut it.
Gimitz, can you make sure the diamond's real?
Absolutely.
It's real as fuck. It's
Yeah.
why he's been sitting there. I mean, you can lend it to us to help us with our journey.
Yeah,
put one
the
hand up
dwarf
to the
is just
diamond
staring
and-
at the diamond like, I really want that diamond.
I put a hand out for the diamond and offer the statue.
They
It's
swap.
best to keep them apart. Put the diamond in my pocket.
Can I see the diamond?
Mm-hmm.
No, like
I
ask
show
you.
the diamond.
No, like
in
I
the
straight up
diamond
ask
sword.
you. Can I touch it? This is because he likes diamonds. Like I'm gonna give it back. I just
As you
really
guys-
want to inspect.
As you guys are fondling and playing with the diamond,
I rub the diamond across his face.
he loves it.
Yeah.
You guys eventually get to sleep. Gimitz, make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Oh, why? It's
In the
You're
middle
so
of the night,
bad at these.
when you finally realize Hadrian's asleep, you wander over to his pack and grab out the diamond and just. Oh. You feel compelled by your dwarvish greed to just take the diamond and just have a hold of it for a while. And then once you start getting nervous about people waking up, you just stuff it back in his bag and go back over to your bedroll.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
possible for me to wake up in the night and try and see where he's put the statue.
No.
I stole it once, I can steal it again.
You would realize that he's inside of his inner cloister, and when you kind of like are trying to look over into it to see like where he's sitting and what he's doing, he turns and he looks back at you and he says, "You're not tired."
Mm.
Bit too hurt to go to sleep.
Do you think I don't know what's in your heart?
There are a lot of things in my heart.
Why do you think I stared at you so long when you first entered this place? You've already
Hey.
told me in your own words that you took it in the first place.
I like shiny things.
So does the dwarf.
You may have spared a great priest his life by taking it the first time. I assure you, you'll spare your own life in not trying to take it again.
I spared someone's life in taking it? No, the only person's life I spared in taking it was my own.
Do you think you were the
Everything
only...
with what I steal.
He says, do you think you were the only person who had his eyes set on it?
Oh no, I know I was not. But I like to keep things.
Had you not been the one who took it, they would have took it by force. You know how the fellowhoods work.
I do know how they work. They're assholes.
Get to sleep. You'll need the rest. I assure you.
Can you heal me?
You get a
That
long...
hurt me a lot.
If you take a long rest, you get all your hit points.
Oh, yeah, I take a long rest.
When you guys wake up in the morning, the outer cloister, or the inner cloister where he's currently staying, is closed and sealed off to you. The pages are set to work. You can see them outside when you kind of get your stuff together and start making your way out of the town. Hard at work on cutting wood and getting as much dry wood as they can. Kelgar, you know the path leads up into the forest, up the mountain, and along the way. Not too long after the townsfolk had left, you and the priest knocked apart stone to cause the switchbacks of the path to fall in on themselves so no one could follow. So you know that's going to be the hard part of the climb, in that you're going to actually have to climb. you guys make your way that way. It is cold, but you do have the winter blankets that you were given in the temple, and are using them as cloaks. So feel free to notate that as winter clothes. And you make it to the point that looks like it'll be the hardest. It is a... hold on a second here.
So,
It looks like it would be a path up to the top of almost a mountain. Well, not like a kind of like a summit portion. But it looks like the summit portion is covered in snow, and the lower portions and trees are not. It looks like the snow and stone has kind of fallen in and kind of blocks your path to the top, to that summit. I'm getting the map ready. Bear with me.
Kelgar, can you make sure that statue stays safe? I don't doubt the Red Priest, but it cost me a friend.
everything in the city is safe under my watch, especially what the Red Priest holds.
Speaking of holding, can I hold the diamond?
Speaking of such things,
We're on a cliff. We're on
the,
a cliff, and I have Thunderwave.
And I don't have a diamond. I just want to look at it.
well, speaking of such things, I'm fairly certain that we will be crossing paths with that statue at the very least again at some point.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna bite it in the ass. Oh, because I got greedy. You got two low wisdom people who like shiny things. Rhavas, I'm sorry, man.
Negative wisdom people.
Assuredly so. They are
One's
indeed.
a dwarf and one's a thief. That's shiny things are the best way to get to us.
Absolutely.
A dwarf, a thief, and a paladin walk into a bar. I don't want to know how that joke ends.
So
It's not a joke. It's what we're going to
in
do.
the streets.
you guys, the cliff face, like the portion that's kind of been knocked down by magic and orc just ferocity, is kind of set to you. It looks like it's going to take some effort to climb. It's a bit of a distance up. That said, how would you like to go about it?
I have some supplies. So I have hempen rope, and I have a crowbar, and I would like to tie the rope to the butt of the crowbar and tie the rope around myself, and then if we want to chain gang it, basically we're all attached to the rope, and then we go, and then after we go a little bit, dig the crowbar in, and then walk, and then do the same thing, so in case we fall, we have a safety net.
When they start planning to do that and stuff, I just start climbing.
Okay. Go ahead and make an athletics check.
I was going to ask if I could make a survival check to try and find a slightly safer path, even if it winds up and down along
You can
that.
go ahead and try.
I'm just gonna follow after York because he's a big bloke and he knows the way. Just leaving Gimitz creating this weird contraption to climb.
Gimitz does kind of set to himself. Gimitz, go ahead and make me a intelligence check. If you have climbers, do you have a climbers kit or no?
I do not have a climber's kit, but I have all the stuff that a climber's kit would have. And
He's
I'm a
basically
mountain
making
dwarf,
it, yeah.
so I mean,
I get you.
Climbing a mountain.
Yeah, just make an intelligence check for me.
Oh god, these are so bad.
Do I need an athletics check for
Jeez.
following after the orc?
You see Kelgar just kind of start setting to the stone and start climbing it. If you follow behind him, go ahead and make an athletics check there, Hadrian. Belorin, you spend quite a while looking for a path, and it doesn't seem like there's any means of egress up the mountainside. Hadrian, you're having some problems in getting up, and you kind of keep on slipping back down. Your tush gets a bit wet because of the snow you keep falling into. And Kelgar, you look down as you witness Gimitz throw up his pick to try and catch onto a ledge. It kind of hits and connects, and he pulls, but the rope doesn't seem as fully connected as
before, if I can reach it, I'm going to try to grab it and then use strength and just slam it into the stone.
Oh, no. The pick hits. The pick hits for sure. It's stuck up there. It's not too far from where you're at, but the rope that was connected to it, when he goes like this and starts to climb up, it just, and the ropes, he had a really good knot tied on it, but it seemed like, for some reason, once it had enough weight on it, it just pulled and slipped off of the pick.
Can I try and... Oh, is it?
I try
Maybe
again.
wouldn't be able to grab it, wouldn't it?
You guys are down there kind of working at it, but Kelgar, you're ways up like 30 feet when you stop and kind of look back, and you've got these folk. You got a half elf kind of like.
If we throw you a rope...
Wait, hold on. I don't think I drove the whole point yet. You got Gimitz. Yeah. Oh no! And then you have Hadrian like, oh, the orc can do it. I can do it. Oh, I'm a weak, petty human man. Oh.
I'm going to go back down and try to aid them as much as I can to start getting up, whether it's tying the rope to something.
Sure. Just let me know. Let me know your plan.
I'm going to get. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Continue. I'm just going to do something stupid again.
I'll go back down and get the rope and climb up as high as it'll go, and then try to find something to actually tie it on to.
Okay. Now, when you get down there,
no, tie it to myself.
Not bad. So yeah, if you want to tie it to yourself, who would be the next person in your daisy chain?
Me. I'm grabbing that rope and going. We're on a cliff ledge, Gimitz. I will thunderwave you.
I will throw you down this cliff. I have a pick and a crowbar. I'm just going to use both. Can I make an athletics check to just start digging my pick into the side, and then the crowbar, and then the pick, and then the crowbar?
If you're just climbing, yeah, perfect. Go ahead and make an athletics check.
Is there anything I need to make for the rope climb?
Not so. Yeah, go ahead and make an athletics check. You have advantage for it.
Oh, stretching.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. Cool. Hadrian, yeah, you managed to, with the assistance of the rope connected to Kelgar, you managed to kind of pull yourself up and along. Gimitz, did you roll twice?
Accidentally.
Okay, so the first one was bad. You have some trouble getting into it. You kind of start thinking about what you're doing, and you realize that your hands are probably strong enough to kind of like grapple onto the stone, and the picks are slipping and sliding because of the ice and snow. So you kind of set the pick, kind of aside for a bit, or just let it dangle like from a strap on your arm, and you start kind of climbing with fists, climbing with grappling hands, and every so often kind of leaning into the stone, kind of catching yourself with spikes to like relax and get higher ground. And once you start kind of following along in Kelgar's like path, you start catching up with him, and that leaves Belorin.
I'm just going to try to straight up climb.
Big old dwarf gauntlets. Let's test these bad boys out. You managed to keep up. You're definitely the slowest of the lot, though. And you kind of, basically in order, it'll go Kelgar, Hadrian, who's attached, right beneath him, and catching up and kind of having to stop and slow up is the dwarf, and last but not least is Belorin. You get to a point where there's kind of a summit and a bit snow covering, and then you see that there are a few more trees up and a ways and bushes that kind of cover and sprawl up the path. It looks like there's more of this switchbacking, winding path up, and it leads to, once again, kind of a summit area covered with snow. This time I'm going to pull you guys down onto the map. And bear with me here. Oh, goodness gracious, I knew it.
What?
Totally forgot the Kelgar token. It shouldn't be so bad. Hold on. Duergar. Oh wow, that's a big old token. Two.
She said,
Huh, ayo. Sure boy Duergar, how you do? How you? Kelgar, sorry, bear with me here. Thank you for being patient. Cool deal. All right, we're going to move you to the next map. So the summit way is behind you. The path kind of winds through bush and bramble and through under trees. You can see that the stone's kind of broken away. This portion here looks like where most of the rubble that descended down the cliff came from. And you can see that the switchback, you can follow it pretty well to kind of get up to the top. But from what you can tell from this vantage, it does seem that there is activity up on the summit.
Perception check?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I make one as well?
Yeah.
Pretty much anybody with perception can try to figure out what the hell's going on.
Give it a gander, yeah.
I suck at this.
All right. So, Belorin and Kelgar, you kind of see what it is before the others. The others are not really seeing it, but it does appear that there is a giant-sized creature up at the top of the hill, kind of just moving about, meandering about, and you would know that there are hill giants in the area, Kelgar. They don't attack the town or anything, but they do kind of, serve as their own annoyance.
I tell them that we'll have to be cautious. There are hill giants about, as you can see.
That's what that is? Huh.
We can take hill giants.
Hill giant
You are stronger than you look.
is, you can only detect that there's maybe one. All right. How do you want to approach it?
Would battle wisdom, would I be okay with that part at least? Like knowing, hey, stay close to the rocks, or stay close to the hillside in case they throw rocks. It'll be a harder target. I'll know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I try to sneak up?
You could attempt to sneak up, yeah, if you guys want to move forward in quiet concert. Keep in mind that, yeah, we're showing the map here, and from what you can see, you're only about 100 or so, 90 or so feet away from it in a vertical sense, or I mean, in a horizontal sense, but in a vertical sense, you're about 120 feet down.
Okay. We try to sneak up the winding path.
I'll go stealthy stealth. I'm good at stealthy stealth.
Yeah, how about me and Hadrian try to stealthy up there?
Yes, the rogue and the barbarian. This is going to end lovely.
Well, I actually have stealth as a skill for whatever goddamn reason. I can be quiet when I want to.
Go ahead and the both of you make your stealth checks.
If only I had advantage.
Same, my god.
Okay.
I've rolled complete crap. Under 10, almost everything today.
You guys move to the first elbow of the switch, so go ahead and place yourself somewhere around here. And the wind actually picks up as you kind of get out from the bush area and the tree area. It wasn't too busy down below, but it's definitely a bit heavier at this point, kind of buffeting against you in the stone that you are walking adjacent to. As you kind of, get to that position, you hear sounds from up above, and every group should see that the hill giant's kind of leaning out over the cliff edge and kind of looking out into the trees with kind of a dumb-looking face, just...
How high is the face above me?
He's probably about 70, or this ledge here is about 40 feet above you, and then this ledge here is about 35 more feet, so 75 feet total.
Can we try to hide while if we see him?
No need. You're fine. You have the trees, and you're looking up at him, but he's kind of looking out at you guys, and you swear he's looking directly at you, but he's like, kind of just looking around.
Sneak and keep going.
If you guys want to attempt it.
Yeah, sneaky.
Okay. Do either of you two speak giant?
Nope. Got common, dwarvish, and orcish.
Okay. Go ahead and make me 2 checks. Acrobatics check number 1 and stealth check number 2.
Can it be athletics?
Not at all.
Damn it. Okay. Do acrobatics.
Okay.
Oh no.
So, as you guys are walking, and you guys can go ahead and get to right about here-ish if you want. But as you're walking, Gimitz kind of shits the bed in that as you guys are passing over the portion where the rubble's kind of broken away, he kind of steps on a couple of steps. Yeah, kind of steps on a couple of steps and causes a lot of stone to kind of descend down. Belorin and Kelgar are kind of like, whoa, as some rocks kind of come down at you. But the trees seem to kind of block your position there. As that's happening, the 2 of you that are further down, since they're kind of closer to the stone and can't see up it, you see a second giant form coming from here down the higher portion of the mountain, just kind of like slowly walking down the mountain with big scroggly arms and big body. And it steps down onto the summit and says something pretty loud. You guys can hear that there are now 2 creatures on the top, but you don't know where the second one is. That's for Hadrian and Belorin.
We heard it. We could see it, though, you said.
Yeah, you can see it, can't hear it. They can hear it, can't see it.
Have we noticed that they have been seen yet, or not?
You don't know.
I want to start moving up through the trees towards the base of the cliff.
You're going to climb it?
I'm going to try, but I want to stand with the trees and try to stay out of their sight.
Okay. To get to, just so you have an understanding of the scale here, to get up to where they're at and climbing that portion, that's 60 feet of climbing rock. 65 feet of climbing rock. You want to go around the long way?
Yeah, it'd probably be smarter. Just try to stay close to the cliff out of eyesight if I can.
Okay, go ahead and move a number of feet equal to your speed, and if you want to dash, feel free to move twice your speed. And Belorin, if you're following up with Kelgar, you can do the same at this point.
I will be.
Okay. The 2 of you, you guys are at the stone. I'm going to ask you what you guys are planning to do now that you are aware that there's 2 of them up above you. You're not sure. And you're not sure. You're going to try and hide here or stealth up?
Stealth upwards a bit more.
Okay.
See, yeah,
same.
All right, go ahead and both of you make a stealth check. Okay.
Does it say it's at disadvantage for a reason?
Your armor.
I thought I had it's spiked leather armor. I thought it didn't impose disadvantage on
It's a bunch of metal spikes, yeah.
That's true.
It's in Sword Coast. In Sword Coast, it says it's 14 armor class, I think, and then disadvantage for it. It's in the book.
Yeah, I forgot about the spikes. I was just thinking leather.
Hadrian, you get to there and kind of put yourself against the stone wall, which is about maybe 15 feet above you is where the ledge is now. And as Gimitz is kind of making his way behind you, he kind of is a little bit slower than you because of his dwarven nature. But as he kind of makes it to that point, you kind of watch as like darkness that just completely like engulfs you for a second, just like a flash of darkness. And Gimitz kind of looks up to see a large rock come straight at him.
Bye, Gimitz.
Dodge? Can I try to dodge?
Uncanny dodge. Your AC will basically determine how that works. We'll see how it goes.
Can I ready my action to dodge and use it?
So that shouldn't have rolled out loud, but it did. So you see that it misses, and it basically hits the stone right behind you, causes a break in the steps a bit, and then just goes tumbling off down the mountain.
Okay. Where did I get to? Am I up near here?
No, right where you were at is where you're stopping. And that's where we'll roll initiative.
Wunderbar.
Fee, fi, fo, fum. Oh, wait, we have an Englishman.
Yeah.
Wait,
Aye, that you do.
what's this? I've missed the joke here.
13.99.
I smell the blood of an Englishman.
Yeah.
You fucking bastards.
I sure do. Okay. From what you can tell, Hadrian, the rock wasn't thrown by the one that's directly above you. It was thrown by one that's further back. The other one that's yelling. And they continue yelling in Giant, too. You're not sure what they're saying, but it sounds like they're really concerned about something. Gimitz.
So, am I close enough to engage?
You see your movement. You have to go around this way. And then,
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was straight up right there.
So,
How big
yeah,
is that ledge?
it's about 15 feet. If you want to try and climb it, you can attempt it. It'll take you one burst of movement to kind of get up to the ledge, and then you can dash and use athletics to try and climb up to the ledge.
Okay. Oh, I have that new ability where I get an extra 10 to my movement speed
No, yeah, that's right.
from my barbarianish.
So you actually have 35-foot movement speed. So yeah, you can get up there and kind of move around. You're still going to need to dash to get up it, because you don't have a climb speed. It looks like it's about 20 to there, and then it's 15 feet up, which if you double is 30. So it's effectively 50 movement.
Could I get away with a running long jump, or is that too high?
Way too high.
Okay.
You
I'm
can
going
jump vertically a number of feet equal to your strength modifier, which I think is a 4, right? Or 3. Yeah. Your vertical is only about 3 feet high.
Okay, so I'm going to. So if I move to here, would I be guarded by the ledge? Could I go over there and then ready in action?
To
Dodge.
always just dodge. Because dodge will just sit and cycle to the next turn. So yeah, you move to there and you dodge. You basically are looking up and just prepared to move if you need to. Okay. And you need to. So you see snow start to kind of splur over the edge and kind of spatter down on you guys. And when you look straight up, you see a shadow, the large rock, and it just throws it straight down.
God.
I'm going to go ahead and say this is against the dwarf because he doesn't really see Hadrian. So this is a rock straight down at your head. That'll hit, actually. That's a really solid hit. Even with the disadvantage from dodge. You kind of try to duck out of the way, but you get slammed right square in the back. Take 19 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And he yells out,
Can I yell out back? Because I have the axe, I can project my voice out. But I don't say anything. I just mumble out what he mumbled out back at him.
Gotcha.
So just mindless scribbles.
That's fine. Yeah, he is mindlessly scribbled at. Oh, I see what happened. It added tokens twice. Hadrian, you had a 12. That's weird. Should be good on the initiative now. It was messed up. But yeah, your initiative's higher than you rolled. It's fine. On the hill giant, the other hill giants, it kind of stomps on to right about here. And you guys see him kind of come around the way, and he looks like he's blocking off the passage up there. He is holding a very large, tree. It's not, wide. It's probably about 8 inches, or 6 inches wide. It's like a young sapling type tree that he's uprooted and is using as a club. Belorin, you can see that giant for sure. And he's about 35 feet above you if you were standing against this wall.
This is gonna hurt.
Hill giants are never fun. You do notice, though, with a perception check, something. Roll a perception check. The stone underneath his feet, just like the stone at the other angle points that you've seen, it's kind of broken up and loose. If something were to traumatize that stone very heavily, it might cause it to fall down the hill.
All right, I still have 30 feet of movement before I have to attack, correct?
You have 30 feet of movement, and then you can take the dash action if you want to move more. He's 35 feet above you.
Yeah, I'm trying to plan accordingly how I'm going to do this.
Sure.
I only have one ranged weapon.
Okay.
I have my spear. I'm going to try to traumatize that.
Okay. Go ahead and make an attack with your spear. And is smite only for melee weapons?
Let me double check, but I don't think so.
Forget it. Don't worry about it. I'll allow it if you want to pop Divine Smite at this point.
Yeah, I think I will. Level 1 spell.
Okay, go ahead and roll the damage for that.
And
I'll take a burger.
Me too.
me 3.
All right.
Yeah, make that.
Kelgar, you watch as the
steak.
Green Knight throws his spear up into the stone. It kind of connects in between a couple of rocks, and when it does so, you see a burst of radiance kind of emit out from it. The stones kind of like push away from it and start to fall out from underneath the giant, under his weight. I need the both of you, not terribly hard here, but go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw if you're beneath the giant.
This part is going to suck.
You have
Natural
gauntlets
one.
now.
Natural one.
That doesn't help for
Natural
dexterity.
Just punch your way through the rocks. Or the ogre.
Okay, so yeah, you get hit by a few pieces of rock, take 7 points of damage, Rhavas. Kelgar, you're able to avoid like the brunt of the rocks and take no damage, but you watch as the hill giant falls from his position, ass over tea kettle, legs going spiral-wise, as he basically does a cartwheel. His shoulder hits onto the stone right beneath him, right near you, and then he kind of continues flipping and lands on his knees right behind you. He's not dead, and he seems to be kind of like getting up off the ground. It does look like he took quite a bit of damage, though. All right, Belorin, good moves. Hadrian.
So bonus action dash because I'm a rogue and I can do that.
All right.
So I'm gonna run here.
Okay, and just so you know, these squares here are going to be... go ahead and put yourself here instead. But these heavier... just so you don't have to deal with my nonsense, but these heavier squares with the wider snow are difficult terrain.
Am I still able to reach him?
Yeah, you have 15 feet. You can get to here, because you said you were dashing.
And then I'm going to look at him in the face and go, all right, buddy? Charm person.
All right, go ahead and throw the spell up so I can... Yep. Oh! As you run up and go, hey, buddy! He goes, oh! And kind of just starts nodding at you. Oh! All right.
Been a long time, friend. I know you can't understand me.
Oh, yeah, no. Good times. Kelgar, what do you want to do? Run over and start smashing on that guy?
Yeah, it looks like something happened to the feed.
Somebody like got hiccuped because of internet connection. That's why I used to have it so that like see the little things on the bottom. Well, in Twitch, the little things on the bottom were actually connected to people's images, but I don't know how to move those around, so I just put them on the bottom, and it's easier that way for me. Anyways, long and short of it, make an attack if you want to roll up on this dude and start wailing on him. It's your internet. You sound like a robot.
Maybe he is a robot.
Perhaps.
Oh my.
Yeah, you're
Also,
forever.
Gimitz is not in the turn order.
Hey,
I am not.
I like that. Weird. Hold on a second. He's on there for me. It says he's on 19.
Yeah, it says 0 for me. Oh, there you go. Now I'm back. Yay.
Oh, I raped that thing. Do you see what I did?
No.
What? No! Oh, no, it has to have worked. Come on, man.
What happened?
It said, apparently, I got an error that says your connection to the server has been interrupted. Anything you do right now?
Yeah. What was the roll on it? I trust you. What did it say?
For my first attack, I rolled
There
a
it goes.
23.
No, for your first attack, you got a 28 because that's a crit.
No, that was my second. Okay.
Oh. Fine. Your second attack. That's fine. The first one you said 23. How much damage?
19.
And then the second, it's
19 plus 12.
which is 31. All right. Belorin, as you see the giant kind of starting to scramble up, you see Kelgar pull out that axe and walk over to it, and he just goes, slams the axe into the side of its head. You hear the crack of bone. He pulls it back up and then slams it right back in that same position, and you hear not only the crack of bone, but like the ooziness of blood kind of leaking out. Sets the axe to the side and kind of looks at the hill, like groggy as he's looking at the
Excuse me, had to sneeze.
Now it's a mess because Choate just got discoed.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming right back in, man.
Okay.
The audio apparently cut out.
On Twitch.
No, on the call for me.
Oh. Yeah, the audio shouldn't be going on the call.
Whatever you just said didn't go through for me.
Oh no, I'm getting robot.
Same.
Getting what?
We were getting the robot voice for a minute there.
Oh, how about now? Am I good?
Still
No.
robotic.
That was a very robotic grunt.
No, it does
That
sound
was a
like
brilliant
our
R2D2
medium
impression.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing now.
Robot.
Buzz.
On the plus side, I've made a friend.
How about now?
Now we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So, Kelgar, good smash, good times, and Gimitz, you're up. It looks like the one above you seems to be in a very non-martial stance, just idly looking down at what you presume is Hadrian.
Could I shout? Could I shout back quickly?
Yeah.
I made a friend.
Okay, can I get up to him? 'Cause I
Yeah.
got-
Well,
Yeah.
if you dash, you could.
yeah.
Yeah, if you dash, you could.
Okay. Could I interpose myself behind the giant and him?
No, you couldn't get around him unless you climb up behind him.
Would I have enough movement to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to get here, so I'm like directly behind him.
Okay. Just make me an athletics check real quick.
Okay, I can do that. I don't totally suck at those. Come on, roll me above a
That's good.
10, please.
Is it good enough? Yeah, you managed to get up behind him. No problem. And 15, so 30. Yeah, you can actually take an action if you'd like to. The hill giant doesn't seem to recognize you, but as you kind of settle into the snow and he kind of looks back and he goes, who are you? I'm gonna kill you. But in giant, so you don't understand what he says.
Okay. Wait, so is his back no longer to me?
He's kind of looking over his shoulder and slowly turning.
Wait,
He's
does it look like
friend, he's
he's
friend.
being aggressive?
He kind of looks like he doesn't know who you are, and he's confused. He doesn't.
Friend, give hug. Yes.
He
And then-
goes, "Ooh."
Yeah, Chum Fuzz
Can I then
friendly
try
to
to-
me.
Yeah, can I then try to jump up and hug him? Friend, hug, as I say that. And then jump up and, like, grab onto his shoulders from behind.
Make an athletics check.
But no, it is friendly to my companions.
Oh,
because
sorry,
it will
wait,
harm you. You will harm him, and then it'll break, and then we'll be in deep shit.
You kind of jump and grab at like his loincloth and try and pull yourself up onto him, but you can't catch a hold of it, and you actually pull it down a little bit. So now you're seeing like hill giant butt crack, and you kind of back, you kind of drop away and like roll into the snow, and you're like, and you kind of get up and you're like, and he's like, and he looks at you, Hadrian, and he's kind of turning around. He says, and then calmly says, "Stay back. I handle this." And he seems to be trying to protect you from the door.
Wait, can I enter a rage as a bonus action, please?
I'll allow it.
He's
Oh,
a friend,
shit.
don't hurt him.
It wouldn't have helped the climbing because you needed a 17. But yeah, that's fine.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, for resistance to bludgeoning damage,
Which is
which I
about
think I might be taking. So
Yeah. The hill giant that's on the ground like gets itself up, Choate, and it seems to have lost a hold of its implement. So instead, it just kind of reaches over to the cliff face and pulls a rock and tries to hurl it straight down at you with a mean grunt. It'll have to.
Wouldn't it be movement action, get up, and then regular action to grab a rock? I'm just saying.
No. It's there's no such thing as a movement action. His movement, half of it is. Don't try and rule lawyer me. He's throwing a rock at you. He has disadvantage for the attack though because he's throwing in close quarters. 13 misses, but the rock hits with enough force to slam and break open steps. Sparks of like stone just kind of fly about as rock and rock slam together. It's a scary sight to be sure, but you're bigger than this. You got this.
Do I get an opportunity attack since he tried to?
No. Jeez. The one with the club is actually, or the one on the top doesn't have a club. It was throwing. No, wait.
yeah, you said it didn't have a club; it was just throwing rocks.
Yeah, the one up top is throwing rocks as well. The other one had a club, but he lost it when he did cartwheels. So this one is going to pick up a rock and also try and throw it at you. He has disadvantage for his range attack. But he's a little luckier than the one below. That'll hit you. You're like, friend! Rock. 27 damage, so half of 27 is 13.
Oh my god! I just got fucked up.
And you start to think in your head, you're like, as your head starts to ring a bit from the blow, and blood starts to kind of like drip out of your mouth and onto your red beard, you kind of like look up at him and you're like, oh god, this is the strength of Aguacy. Oh god, the giants are so strong.
God damn! Only if I had a pair of gauntlets of giant strength. Oh,
I wrestle him. Belorin, you look down. You see that your spear's kind of laying on the floor near you. You would see that the hill giant down below is probably only about, you said 35 feet, so probably about 15 feet, 15 to 20 feet below you if you were to jump down, if you'd like. But your spear is not too far from you either.
Well, the spear, or I will make a note of where the spear is in my head, because I have my hammer.
Okay.
And the giant is below me about 15 feet.
Yeah.
I'm going to two-hand hammer that thing.
All right. Go ahead and just make an attack roll for me. It's metal as hell. Yep. Okay. Actually, really good. Anything else do you want to mention before I continue? You're muted.
I might as well smite.
Okay, go ahead. All right. So, one last favor: make me an acrobatics check.
Shit.
And Choate, go ahead and make me a dexterity saving throw. All right. Perfect. So you hear a as the half elf Green Knight jumps from the cliff face, slams his hammer right into the giant's head where the wound was with the axe, and you see it just kind of like mash open, like someone like peeling an orange open, just and his just brains and sick start flying out the side of his head, and he kind of starts falling, and his leg kind of slams upwards as he starts to continue his cartwheeling session down the mountain. However, as you try to as you finish the attack and you feel that you're airborne, you kind of look around for somewhere to kind of like, what am I gonna? The leg hits you and sends you kind of flying up in the air higher than you wanted to be, and you end up slamming into this tree, and you're about 20 feet away, or let's see, about 20 or 25 feet away from like the ledge, and you're about 40 feet up in a tree, kind of smashed into the branches. Take 7 points of damage as you bludgeon into the trunk.
I have steak.
I want a steak. I don't get steak. Why I don't get steak?
It smells so good.
That is not a burger at all.
That's certainly not a burger.
Not a burger. Oh,
As soon as the session is over, I am cooking frickin' venison, so bite me.
I want all of the food. Okay, so Belorin, you're stuck in a tree. Much like your female form's player's namesake in a tree. It was rough. It was rough, but that's how I thread. Choate, real quick. Belorin is the player who Ranma one-halved. Yeah. Anywho, Hadrian. You seem to have him as your friend, but charm doesn't mean he's your group's friend. He seems to be protecting you from the seemingly hostile dwarf.
No, he's a friend, promise. Don't hurt him.
Make a persuasion check.
Oh, I'm good at it.
And this is your action to do so.
Oh, is this my action to do so? Bugger.
Uh-huh.
Oh. Do I want to do this then?
For my continued good health, I wish you success.
You say, hey, he's my friend, and the giant kind of turns back to you and goes, friend? And like gestures between you.
Yes, friend.
And then he gestures with his big finger, friend, in between you and the dwarf.
Yes.
And then he looks over at the dwarf and looks straight down at you, imposingly, friend?
Yes.
Yes, friend.
The giant kind of nods and was holding another big rock to drop on your head and just like lets it fall into the snow.
I'll say you're sorry.
Thank Angum.
Sorry.
I turned to look at the dwarf when he says that. Don't thank your make-believe god. Thank me, motherfucker.
Kelgar, you see Belorin stuck in a tree. You're pretty sure. We're going to go ahead and just... How long does Charm Person last? About a minute, right?
An hour.
Okay, perfect. And we're going to go ahead and drop out of initiative. Because, So, Belorin, you kind of are going to try and jump out of the tree, and Kelgar is going to try and be there to catch you and pull you back up, right? Makes the most sense. Unless you can fly. Last time I checked, you couldn't.
I think I just did, but not intentionally.
Right. Go ahead and make an athletics check, the two of you. Or just you, Belorin. You have advantage for it because you're getting assistance. Yeah, you jump out across. You kind of hit the ledge a bit short of where you want to be, but you reach out with your gauntleted hand. Kelgar throws his hand down at the right moment and clasps with yours, and the two of you kind of lock eyes and and pull pull each other back up onto the ledge. All right. You guys head up to the top of the hill.
I'm explaining to him, more friends coming.
Hungry. And he looks back at the dwarf, and then he looks back at you. No.
No, eat friend. Friends, not food.
I'll go down and get food then. You have fun.
Bye.
And he climbs down to this portion, and you guys kind of make your way up here and see him coming down, not sure what's going on. And then he looks at you. He looks at you with this big toothy grin. And he goes, "Friend!" And then he continues down the mountain, just climbing down without caring about the steps. Friend! And then...
That was the best thing I've done in forever.
Absolutely fun times. You guys all get up to the summit, battered and bruised. Mainly just the dwarf, though. And once you guys get up there, you see that just ahead there's a cave mouth. The cave mouth has some old markings on it, which the half-elf immediately recognizes as elvish markings. And there seems to be kind of a passageway in that leads in probably about well past your dark vision sight. Kelgar, you would know that about 100 feet into this tunnelway, there's a very large door. It's what is known to you as, per what the Red Priest told you it was called, known as the Elf Door. If that's where you're basically going to be opening the door and letting them go on about their journey. And you guys go into the dark of it, and you take the key out. The door, as you look at it, has a bunch of elvish markings, but it also has a very large, like, house cat, kind of just emblazoned on it. You guys are pretty familiar with the iconography of nobility as you've been thinking about history a lot and trying to figure out, who's who. The Kingdom of Netton, their sigil is a house cat. The house is actually known as Nala Shan, and they're kind of cool. We'll get to that next session. But anyways,
Okay.
You unlock the door, and the door opens, and Kelgar kind of, gives you a salute and a reaffirmation of his promise that the statue will be taken care of. You
I
guys,
look at him dead in the eyes and just go, "Have fun with the giant." And I drop charm person.
Kelgar goes, I will.
As we're going through, can I actually read the markings?
So it's basically just a bunch of markings that are denoting that this is the property of the House Nalashan, and this is the passageway to the Kingdom of Netton.
Okay.
It seems to be kind of like a blocking door for against the Kingdom of Stormlock, kind of like a border passage. It's wide enough that you could get a cart through, but it just seems that this place hasn't been used very often as of late, probably because they don't trade, or they're using the Serpent's Trench. You get through, and you can, on the other side of it, you have Kelgar heading down the mountain, and eventually catches up with the hill giant and butchers it for good measure, just to ensure that it doesn't cause any problems at a later point.
I also make sure to lock the door behind them.
Of course.
The
Of
most
course.
confused hill giant ever. Just like, huh? What?
And you guys kind of make your way out of the tunnel and kind of look out. You can see that the mountain that you're on kind of descends down in a much lighter descent than the one you just went up. So it's going to be a little bit of an easier trip down. And then you can see a sprawling amount of forest with small clearings and smoke kind of billowing up from these small little cabins. But within eyeshot, just out on the horizon, you see a very large city with elven spires and elven capped roofs. Just a very elegant looking city off in the distance. And the sun's kind of rising, it's set above you. It's about noonish at this point. And you see what appears to be a very large golden eagle flying overhead above you, some 100 or so feet, and heading in the direction of the city.
Um,
That... no,
I-
go
He's just gonna lift up the gem and just go. And here was me wanting to go to the House of Lady Favors.
ahead.
Never mind.
And that's where we'll end the session for today. So you do see one of the golden wings, a large golden eagle, heading from the direction that you just came from. And it seems to be heading towards the city. What?
No, prick. Not you, the eagle.
That asshole is a prick. All right. I'm going to go ahead.
Next time you're in Starbloff, can you steal a golden eagle egg for me, Mercer?